70% of Americans support Medicare for All. A vast majority, 70% of Americans, in a new poll support Medicare for All, also known as single payer. The Reuters IPSOS survey found 85% of Democrats said they support the policy, along with 52% of Republicans. I'm sorry to yell, but this is the first poll that I have seen where over half, even half of Republicans support government-run Medicare for All. Let me repeat this. 70% total. 85% of the Democrats. 52% of the Republicans. Yet Hillary Clinton said, we could never have it. It will never come to pass, she said with her hands waving out. Nancy Pelosi, DID, thank you for the $4.99. Thank you to everyone contributing in the super chat. Keep it coming. Forget the happy hour. This is the happy hour. You don't need beer. You need this. We're going to have fun today. You're telling me, forget morality for a second. Forget morality. Forget if the Democratic Party wants you to have health care. Forget if the Democratic Party wants more equal economic distribution. Forget all that. Maybe they're just Republicans pretending to be Democrats. That's what they are. Forget all of that. Forget the morality. As a political reality, it is political malpractice at this point for the Democratic Party, all of them, to say, we need Medicare for all, even if they don't mean it. You got 85% of polled Democrats want Medicare for all. That's not just millennials. That's not just hippies. That's not just progressives. That's 85% of the Democrats, registered Democrats. And you're saying we can't do it. We can't do it. We're saying we have to continue Obamacare. No, you don't. There's this strange phenomenon in America. When you match policy with public sentiment, you could get reelected. Policy, public sentiment. Here we go. If two people, wait a minute. Oh yeah. So if two people like one bagel, if two people like bagels, right? Is that better if two people like bagels or if one person likes bagel? What's better? We had a little bagel thing. Now I've put my germs on all that. It's maddening. It doesn't make sense. Where is Tom Perez with this poll? I didn't get an email from the Democratic National Committee highlighting this Medicare for All poll. Did you? I didn't get an email from the Democratic Party highlighting that Bernie Sanders would beat Donald Trump by 12. We're all so worried. We're all so worried about Donald Trump, and I think there's reason to be. But, and by the way, the Democratic Party, Jimmy Dore has done great on this. So many people have done great on this. Lance, $2. Thank you very much. Learn MMT. We're going to cover MMT once we launch Status Quo. Everybody's losing their mind over Trump and the insanity of Trump and the fascism and the autocrat and the dictatorship. But they don't want to do what is necessary to beat Trump. Common sense, folks. Common sense. How do you beat a fake populist with a real populist? A male or a female populist? If it was Warren versus Trump, I got my things about Elizabeth Warren. She's not my favorite, but there really is no contest. If it would be Warren versus Trump, I would vote for Warren. If you don't like it, tough. I would vote for Warren in a second over Donald Trump. That's not... Objective people should not even think about that. But would I rather Bernie Sanders than Elizabeth Warren? Hell yes. So, like, okay, we know that over 90% of the public, what is the Democratic Party? One of their talking points, right? Over 90% of Americans support tighter background checks on guns. So if the Democratic Party says Why is it that the Republican Party, will not help us pass stronger background checks? 90% support it. Yadir Ramirez, $2. My Starbucks money. I'm Mexican and some relatives support Trump. Let me tell you something, Yadir Ramirez. Thank you very much, because I know people in this country hold Starbucks near and dear to their hearts. So thank you for giving me your Starbucks money. And by the way, what the hell are you getting at Starbucks for $2? Just to walk into Starbucks costs $2. You got to give me your secret. What at Starbucks costs $2? I got something a few weeks ago. It was like a mocha something, fuck a frappuccino. It was like $6.50. I said to the guy, "Are you crazy?" He said, I don't make the prices. And I'm sorry you have to deal with relatives that are Mexican that support Trump. We got to work on them. Send them this video, please. So, if the do you see hypocrisy? How is it that the Democratic Party says, why is it that the Republican Party is ignoring the American people on guns? But we, the Democratic Party, we're going to ignore the American people on universal health care. Why? Because our pharmaceutical masters won't let us go for Medicare for All. That's why President Barack Obama didn't even bother to push a public option, which he ran on. He had a historic victory in 2008. And what did he do? Well, you know, the Republicans won't do anything here. They're going to try to block me, and the Democrats won't push the public option either. So I guess I'll just go with the Republican plan, hatched out of the Heritage Foundation, which became Obamacare. Is it better than what we had? Yeah. Pre-existing conditions is a big deal. But why the double standard? Why is it that the Democratic Party, when it's about guns, which, by the way, they're right about that, say, how dare those Republicans ignore the American people? 90%. Well, 70%, not so far away from 90%. And by the way, 85, let me remind you, 85% of Democrats polled are for Medicare for All. So where I'm sitting, this is now a litmus test for any Democratic candidate across America. I'm not talking just the presidential. I am talking Congress. I am talking Senate. I am talking local municipality. I don't want to hear from the Democratic establishment. Jordan, you're going to help reelect Trumps with this. You're going to help reelect establishment Republicans with this. You're going to help reelect extremist Republicans with this talk. No, 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 no. Because the poll shows that 52% of Republicans support Medicare for All. The fear-mongering is over. You've lost. Stop lying. Stop fear-mongering. Stop the nonsense. And start telling the truth. And by the way, we're in August 24th, 2018, and this poll happened. Do you think it's going to go down or up? Do you think it's going to go down or up? I think it's going to go up. You have 85% of the Democratic Party and 52% of the Republican Party. By the way, how do you win a general election in the United States? Not with, the key is not Democrats or Republicans, it's independents. In that, I didn't see what the percentage was of independents. But if 52% of Republicans are for Medicare for All, you better damn well believe more independents are for Medicare for All than 52%. And Bernie Sanders wiped the floor with Hillary Clinton among independents. Open primary states where independents could vote in the primaries. Bernie Sanders won a hell of a lot more open primaries than closed primaries. Allison Meithke, $2. Thank you so much, Allison. Appreciate it. And I always apologize to people for pronouncing your last name wrong. Or first name wrong. I try. Although somebody called me Jordan Charity the other day, so. It's just unbelievable to me. And this shows we don't live in a democracy whether we have Republican leaders or Democratic leaders. Do the Democratic leaders sound less horrific? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Cory Booker would sound a lot more pleasant than Donald Trump. Joe Biden, a lot more pleasant. Kirsten Gillibrand, a lot more pleasant. Kamala Harris, a lot more pleasant. Name your fake progressive, a lot more pleasant. But in practice, they are ignoring, the Democratic Party is ignoring its base at this point. The Democratic Party is ignoring its base. It's plain and simple. If you have a poll with that level of numbers, if you have Bernie Sanders as the most popular politician and you're ignoring that, there's a reason you're ignoring that, and it's because you are living in the Stone Age of politics where money ruled all. Well, how did that work out for Hillary Clinton? She outspent Donald Trump 2-1, and she got crushed in the Electoral College. So we're going to cut, as all live streams, we're going to cut this live stream down. We're going to make it into smaller videos, and I want you to send this to your establishment Democrat aunt or uncle who loves Rachel Maddow and loves the establishment. Show them the hard numbers and see what they say. Because then, if they're also against it, then they're also against facts. Because the Democratic Party likes to rant and rave, oh, the Republicans are against science, which they are. Well, the Democratic Party now seems to be against math. They seem to be against math. Because the math is moving to the progressive side. It's not moving, it's moved. The math has moved to the progressive side. Plain and simple. And while I'm on the topic of Joe Biden, I have another story here. Unsurprising. So Joe Biden, it seems, is swooping in to endorse a centrist Democrat who betrayed him on health care. This is from David Sirota, a great independent journalist. I'll read a little bit. Former Vice President Joe Biden is coming to the rescue of embattled Democratic Senator Tom Carper as the veteran Delaware lawmaker faces a stronger than expected primary challenge from progressive Kerry Evelyn Harris. Biden's foray into a race in his home state may seem predictable, but there's an ironic twist. Biden is swooping in to try to save a lawmaker who played a pivotal role killing Biden's own health care policy priority to help reduce insurance premiums. And Carper killed the initiative just as he was raking in big money from the industries opposed to the measure. Oh, God. The hypocrisy never ends, but not surprising. Back in June 2009, Biden helped lead the fight for the creation of a government-backed public insurance option to compete with private health insurers. We've made it clear that we think there should be a public plan, Biden then said on Meet the Press. Here's the reason for the public plan. You've got to have some competition. 3 months later, Democratic leaders introduced a proposal for such a public plan in the Senate Finance Committee. Despite Democrats having a filibuster-proof majority, Carper and a handful of Democratic lawmakers joined with Republicans to vote down the initiative, effectively guaranteeing that it would be left out of the final version of the Affordable Care Act. Carper did support a watered-down version of a public plan, but he refused to support the full version because he asserted at the time, quote, it would give the government an unfair advantage in the marketplace by allowing it to negotiate prices initially based on Medicare. Oh, my heavens. Oh, my heavens. So, yeah, the government would have an unfair advantage in the marketplace. Sort of like, big pharmaceutical companies. Are you fucking insane? Oh, my God. Oh, my God in heaven. Laura Werdenberger says, Jordan, I'm out of here, but before I go, I wanted to thank you so much for keeping it real and always telling it like it is. That's why I started following you, and that's why I continue following. Laura, thank you for being here to keep it real with me. I appreciate that. And everybody commenting. Lance, thank you for the $10 in the super chat. Lance says, I know many med students and doctors from India and Pakistan who tell me, quote, America is done. I tell them not yet, but we are heading there. Perilous times. Let me tell you something. I was in Europe last year. They're saying the same things about America. And it ain't just because we have an orange orangutan as president. It's because we are killing ourselves by being a legalized mafia that basically allows a rigged monopoly system.